Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a one-page layout for the Erica Rose Creates design team. I am using her brand new Snow Much Fun cut file for this month and think it is just so fun. It's so much fun, you know? Cheesy, I know. I ended up cutting it out in a bright pink, which for me, pink is not a color that I normally will scrapbook with. However, I am using the older Snow and Cocoa collection from Crate Paper, and I really wanted to try to focus on the pink elements because I have so much of this collection. I really loaded up when Tuesday morning was still in business, and I just have a bunch of it. And obviously the pinks I'm probably not going to use for the kids, nor does it really scream snow or winter for me. So I really tried to challenge myself with this layout to use it. So I ended up, when I cut out the cut file, I made sure to kind of center it so that I could use that same exact paper as a border around my layout. Sometimes for Cricut, at least, when you go to cut it, it will kind of have the image in the top left corner. So if I kind of have an idea of what I want to do maybe with that layout that I'm going to create, I will try to center it so that I have, you know, more of it around the edge that I can use, I guess. So just kind of a tip and trick. When you get to the point where I think you push like cut, you can move your image around the page. So that is actually very nice because sometimes too, maybe you only have a small piece of paper or, you know, you kind of have to mix, I don't know. It's just nice to be able to move the image to where you want it. Anyways, I was really trying to figure out how to kind of back the cut file. I thought about using the I think it's the 6x8 papers here. However, I just thought maybe it was too busy. I was going to do maybe color each word a different pattern paper, but to me it was just too busy, so I decided not to. Instead, I used the papers I had selected and used those to map my photos. I have 2 photos. They would be 3x4 photos that I will be using. So I did double mat those and added those kind of to the backs of each of those. To add to the layout, I did then decide to add some mixed media instead of matting or backing the cut file. So I will be using kind of the greenish color in the collection and just doing the smushing technique. Really quick, really simple. I did give myself with pencil kind of a outline of where the circle will be. So just little dots all around the edge because I did just want the ink kind of behind the snowflakes. I didn't necessarily want any of the ink underneath the letters. So again, just using the swooshing technique and adding that kind of around the circle. I did drip at one point there in the middle and was kind of sad about it, but I think it actually is the O of snow maybe, and I do actually end up covering that up. So it worked out just fine. In a previous layout, I had asked about paper towel because if I roll it, the images from the paper towel end up in my ink. So what I ended up doing was just grabbing and bunching paper towel and just kind of blotting it, and that seemed to work a lot better. So just adding a couple of finishing ink splotches, I guess, around the outside. I wanted to see kind of where the ink fell with the cut file on top of them. And so I did add a couple of them on the outside edges. So while that dries, I decided to go kind of layer up my photos. This was really fun. Again, I have so many of these different pieces that I had so many options for layering pieces. I did cheat kind of ahead of time and kind of had an idea of what pieces I wanted to layer behind which photos. So this looks like it comes together really quickly, but it's kind of because I had already picked out what I liked to go behind each of the photos. And you can see, so the photo that I'm working on now, I matted in pink because I knew that it was going to have kind of that green element towards the top, whereas the photo on the right, I matted in green because I had that bright pink element that kind of was, yeah, that kind of stood out a little bit. So that's kind of why I matted what I did, because I wanted a mixture of the colors in each of those clusters. The collection also has a lot of gold, and so I did bring in a couple of the gold snowflakes. Really tried to keep the colors maybe equal, or tried to at least, in each of those clusters. And I will end up having to go back and fix them and move some of them because they are too large for my layout. Unfortunately, they cover up too much at the bottom where I want to put my photos here. But I didn't want to cover up that ice skating layering piece on the left hand side, because that is what we were doing. We were ice skating, and so I thought that was perfect to include there. So you can kind of see I will keep the same pieces but kind of bunch them in a little bit more. I think there was only one piece really that hung off the page that I had to trim down. It might be that left hand tag there. That tag actually is from Felicity Jane. That is also a element out of my stash that I've been using quite a bit of here lately. The colors matched really nice for a couple of the collections I've been using. So that tag is not from the Snow and Cocoa collection. So I decided to kind of trim off the F so that could actually overlay my photo. There was some kind of dead space in the photo, so I wanted to kind of tuck my photo up a little bit more without covering up the F. And so by trimming it so it kind of was free, it'll allow me to kind of move my photo up a little bit without covering it up, I guess. So now that I kind of have an idea of the placement of the cut file, I did go ahead and glue some of it down. I didn't even glue much of it down, enough that it's not going to come up, but the bottom clusters are going to really kind of help the cut file stay in place, I guess, because they are so large. With the O, and I was right, that O, or that drop is covered up by a snowflake in the middle of the O, so that worked out really nice. So you can see with that F now that I have the photo placed down there was just that white space, so having that F overlap was really perfect. I probably could have done it with the N as well, but it was more of the F would have been covered up than what is covered up on the letter N, I guess. I felt like I needed more embellishing, and so I had to come up with an idea of another place for an embellishment cluster, I guess. So I used the scraps from the 6x6 papers that I used to map my photos and ripped a couple of strips for kind of maybe a base for a cluster at the top of the page here. I have a whole bunch of snowflakes. You can see them sat off to the right-hand side of, I guess, my Versamat there. I just didn't love how they looked layered behind the rest of the bright pink snowflakes. That would have been an option and really just kind of focused on that. But I felt like I had so many different pieces and elements to use that adding kind of a separate embellishment cluster was what worked best for what I had maybe, or what I liked. So I found that little polar bear stamp. You can see I have so much, just so much of this collection. And quite honestly, anymore, I'm not in love with it. I'm not sure that I am ready to get rid of it quite yet. I don't really have any other winter snowy collections. So this is my go-to for outdoor winter photos. So I'm not ready to give it up quite yet. But I'm getting close to it. Especially there's just, like I said, I have so much of it. It's kind of ridiculous how much I actually have. So I have these gold snowflake stickers. So I did want to add to that stamp at the top. And so I did add a couple of those. Thought about adding one to the pink snowflake in the O. I think I do end up removing that. I don't love that. Maybe I keep it. I'm not sure. I can't even remember, to be quite honest. I should, like one of you mentioned, have the layout in front of me as I do the voiceover, but I forgot this time. So again, just adding a few snowflakes, not over the top and not all around the wreath. I think the snowflakes in the wreath are gorgeous by themselves, and I really didn't want to take away from that either. So I am just going to kind of tuck some in underneath of my large layering pieces behind my photos, and call that good, I think, for the rest of the snowflakes. One thing I do manage to accomplish with this layout, I have puffy stickers to the left-hand side of the camera view right now, and don't have much of them left over. So I actually managed to finish off this puffy sticker sheet. So that was a feat. I got rid of something in the Snow and Cocoa collection, finally. Yeah. So that was good. I ended up adding that cute little rabbit. I thought it looked so cute jumping over the O. So added that. I have to figure out how to add the reindeer head. I just tucked that under the stamp a little bit at the top, and then there's houses. There were 3 houses, and I thought about adding them, I think, across the bottom of the page. Don't remember why I didn't. Kind of between the photos, I thought would have been a great place, but instead I tucked them in each of the clusters. Yeah, I don't know. They're not very sticky. I might go back and add them to the bottom of the page in between the 2 photos. Let me know what you think. But I did manage to finish off that puffy sticker, and then I had these kind of white enamel dots from Bella Boulevard that were the last thing in that package as well. So I added one to the middle of each of the snowflakes there and finished off that package too. So that is going to finish off this layout. Definitely check out Erica Rose Creates shop and use the code Melanie for 15% off your order. She's got cut files and collections and page kits and so much. So definitely check out her shop. But I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.